Hi, I'm sitting in front of the newest addition to TCTV. This is the new Clarabelle, believe it or not. We've upgraded our computers. We're now working on Final Cut Pro HD, and it comes with two fantastic programs, LiveType and Soundtrack. And you can learn all about them, how they're different from the Final Cut Express you're used to using, in our free editing upgrade classes, which are going to be featured in September and October. So be sure to look for those and sign up. You can see all of our training classes on the web at www.tctv.net, and you click on training. Now today on the TCTV Training Show, we're going to learn about rugby. We're going to find out what's new with Untold Stories Studio, and we're going to learn all about architecture. So stay tuned for this exciting episode of the TCTV Training Show. Coming up next.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light, learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.
Welcome to the TCTV Training Show. I'm Robert Kam, the Member Services and Media Education Manager for TCTV. The TCTV Training Show is composed of videos produced by members of the Digital Field and Editing class. It airs on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. and there's a new episode each month. If you'd like to be part of the Digital Field and Editing class, please give us a call at 956-3100. You can always go to our website, www.tctv.net, and click on training to find out when our classes are and if you can be a part of them. You do have to be a member of TCTV, and you must have gone through orientation. Let's go to our first video by Christopher Bauer and Cody Tatao. This piece had some really nice looking camera work. They had some really great, exciting shots. They caught some really good plays on camera, and everything seemed pretty steady. But the piece could have used some more interviews, and we were lacking some information. There was just music and a lot of sports footage. So if we could have had some information about the team, a coach talking about how well they've done throughout the season, some players talking about the rules of the game, the risks involved when playing rugby, and things of that sort. I always encourage people to do interviews when they're doing these pieces. Interviews are a good way to practice the skills that you learn in this class. It's not just about camera work and editing, it's about microphones, it's about lighting, it's about interview styles, it's about shot composure. And we try to teach you a little bit of everything, and we want you to practice those skills when you do these pieces for the TCTV Training Show. I also noticed at the beginning the text was a little bit off center. That's an easy thing to fix in editing. And I listened to this song, and it doesn't sound like something that we would have available in our network music selection. There's a little note about copyrighted music. I'm not saying that this music was copyrighted and that Cody and Christopher didn't have the rights to use this song, but be sure that you do have permission to use copyrighted music in your pieces. And sometimes you think it's too overwhelming to contact the copyright holder and ask for permission, but it has been done, and there's a lot of success stories with people doing access shows that have gotten permission, they've gotten written permission, and haven't had too much trouble doing it. The copyright holders were willing to give them the right to air this. Make sure you let them know that you're not making money off of it. It's for public access, and you're trying to do something that will enhance your community. So give it a shot. You know, if you wanted to use some copyrighted music, don't feel like it's too overwhelming. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, you can always use our network music, which is found on the desktop of all of the cows here. So be careful with copyrighted music. It seems like they had a lot of fun with some transitions, and that's good for your first piece to play around with those things. But remember, sometimes transitions can be a little bit distracting. You don't want to overuse them, and you want to make sure that their use is for a specific purpose, to change ideas in the video, to go to a different topic or segment or something like that. You don't want to overuse them and use too many different ones. It gets a little distracting, and the video becomes more about the transitions than about the content. And then the last thing about this video is it just kind of ends. It just stops, and the music just stops, and there's no ending. There's not even a fade out in the music. So next time, make sure you fade that music down. Even just a fade to black would have worked. You know, sometimes that's all you need, but if you don't have some kind of conclusion topic, usually if you had some interviews, you'd have some kind of like final thought that would end the piece, and that's the best approach. But great job, guys. Let's go to our next one. Untold Story Studios by Ethan Grover.
Yep, he's saving the world, man.
I'm a better rock star than you.
That's because I don't want to be a rock star, because I'm not a...
Hey, my name is Colin. I've been in several of the movies at Untold Story Studios. I think the first one I was in was War of the Roses, and I think what really hit me about Untold Story Studios is how organized it was. I know a lot of people who just go around and film stuff with cameras, and what Untold Story Studios does is it really has an organization plan. Ethan writes all his own scripts, which is great. I mean, you don't find people who actually can put a story together beforehand versus just throw something on the screen.
Well, I'm Alan, or, well, now I'm known as Hal and Eggs from my most previous role, but I've been helping Ethan and his Untold Story Studios productions for quite some time now, pretty much have been in everything, or done everything, well, not everything, but I've been in everything that he's done post 8th grade. And I think, let's see, I was King Henry in War of the Roses. I was a scientist. I was an Igneous Ignites in... I also was the cameraman for that movie, Quest for the Moonstone. Let's see, and then, of course, a more serious role.
So I'm sure we can find him somewhere, shall we? Do you come here often?
No, not as much as I'd like.
I used to come here all the time, but times have changed, haven't they?
Well, maybe not. Helen Aches.
I played the Screaming Woman. Yes. And it was terrifying.
No, no, please.
Actually, the movie felt real.
Hey, my name's Nicole. I was in Ethan's movie Quest for the Moonstone, and I played the character Ilsa. So weird. Things we'll do for those movies. I think it's awesome that we actually have someone here who can make movies, produce it, give all the special effects. I think it's crazy.
I think that this Untold Story Studios and this whole experience that I've had with it is pretty intense because it just keeps demanding you to keep acting, and you have to keep it up, and you just can't stop. You have to keep going. You can't stop ever. It's amazing.
Every time I think of doing movies or doing any type of stuff on screen or any type of acting at all, I think of Ethan and his studio. It's really great. It adds a lot of the depth and the different types of characters I've been able to play. You know, I've done everything from just simple guards to the maniac and detective who ends up shooting a guy in the end of the play. You know, I think that the variety really adds a lot. So I like the kind of variety and other stuff that Untold Story Studios has added to the way I think about acting.
That works,
He teaches you to act too. Like even if he makes you do a scene 10 times, he can he'll just like help you.
I've done more than 20. Yeah. I've done more than 20. I mean,
action.
I think my longest
Okay,
is over
no.
10.
Action. Okay, no. Okay.
High five. High
Everybody
five
got
circle.
1 minute.
As you can see from this piece, Ethan is no stranger to the video world, and it seems like he's been around a while, and we're happy to have him here at TCTV working on things. This was a great video. The shots were very well framed and the setting was beautiful. The scenery was awesome. I saw some lens flares in the piece, which, you know, are kind of neat. And they're fun to play around with. Lens flares happen when the sun shines into the camera lens a little bit, and you can see it here. Sometimes you get lens flares and you didn't want them, but they can provide a little bit of, you know, just little fancy stuff to your video. He also played around with some perspective with the camera. Whenever you take the camera and you put it down low and shoot up on someone, you have a different effect than when you take the camera, put it up high, and shoot down on someone. So make sure you experiment with perspective in your camera work. There was some really good CG in this piece. I love the titles down at the bottom. Nicely done. I did notice that in one of the interviews, the subject had a lot of headroom. Be careful with your headroom. You always want just a little bit, but not too much. You also don't want the head cut off, because that is even worse than having too much headroom. And again, I loved the music. I've never heard it in our music library. I'm not saying that it was copyrighted music, and I'm not saying that Ethan didn't have permission to use it, but again, I'm just pointing out, be careful when you're using copyrighted music, because it is illegal to use it without permission. Now, you can try and get permission, or you can go ahead and just use our network music provided on the desktops of all of the edit systems. Great job, Ethan. We look forward to seeing more of your work here on TCTV. Let's go to our next video by Stephanie Johnson.
Keeping those things in mind, you know, you might be designing a building and thinking, well, this room would really benefit from having a gently curved wall because the light's coming in just right, it'll just graze that wall. And why is that interesting? Because along a curve, the light will gradually fade, whereas if it's a straight wall, it'll manipulate the light differently.
My perspective, the building which most moves me and influences my designs is the legislature building, because everyone wants a view of it. And so I'm always cognizant of where it is. I'm always protecting the view. You know, everything we're doing is around that building. So I don't know how I could really, you know, say that isn't the most influential building in our community.
Me, you know, that is certainly an element of art, as much as a painting or poetry or anything. It's getting the parts to look proper, you know, from many different perspectives. And I think when people think about art and architecture as being, you know, the sculpture sitting out in the yard, it's, you know, that is, you know, a marrying of art and architecture together. But I think that's very simplistic.
Cool, really cool.
The first thing I noticed about this video was that the audio was really low, and I don't know what happened in editing or in shooting that made the audio so hard to hear. I had to bring it up multiple times to get it to be heard in this program. So I'd have to look into the edit project to find out if that was a problem in editing or if it was a problem in shooting. Chances are it was probably during the shooting process that the levels were just turned down. It wasn't set to auto, and we had the levels turned down. With the GL1s, you have an auto audio level mode that is always engaged. With the GL2s, it can be switched from auto to manual. It was probably in manual and the levels were really down. Either that or she was using the XLR camera adapter and the volume was turned down on the back of that. You guys who haven't taken the class might just not know what I'm talking about. But if that's the case, take the class. Come and sign up. Call us again, 956-3100. Go on www.tctv.net and click on training to find out when the class is. Stephanie, I love the use of cutaways in this piece. They were perfect. I could not see this piece without the cutaways. When these people are talking about the architecture, you want to see it. It's this urge to see what they're talking about, and without those cutaways, it really would have ached in the heart of the viewer not to be able to see what they're talking about. So I'm glad that you used those cutaways. You could have used more cutaways. More cutaways would have been brilliant. I like the format of the segment, how you went to an architect talking, you showed the architecture, then you went to a graphic talking about the next thing, and then you went to an architect showed a clip of the building, and then you showed the text once again. So I like the symmetry of it and the format. It could have used some more elaborate graphics maybe, instead of just the one word scrolling around the bottom. And that could have been done with Photoshop. We have Photoshop elements on all of the editing platforms. Photographs could have worked for that. Just put photographs and you can put text over those, or make a collage of photographs and put the text over those, instead of just black with the words scrolling down in front of you. Way to go, Stephanie.
Training Show!
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, it's the TCTV Training Tip of the Day. And this month, it's all about green screen. Here's Dan Bennett to tell you more.
Hi, my name is Dan Bennett, and I'm here to offer you the Training Tip of the Day. Yes, and today's training tip is green screening. Now behind me is the curtain, and behind that is the green screen. And my wonderful assistant, Des. Now green screens are used for putting in backgrounds. So if I close this, you see the curtain, and Hollywood uses them to show all kinds of things. Okay, Des, if you could pull back the other curtain. Excellent. Wonderful magical places. Places that you could not go, like underwater, in the sky, or in some fantasy land. One of the difficult things with green screening is getting that little halo around the edge of you to disappear. And you have to make a number of different adjustments to make it disappear. You have to mess with the opacity, you have to mess with the luminosity, you have to mess with a number of different parameters within the filter. It can be very, very difficult. And as you can see here, those parameters are changing from time to time. And you have to sit with it for a little while to make sure that it works just right. But once you get it, once you got it looking good, then you're good to go. Well, green screening is a magical thing that you can do, and it's very useful for certain kinds of shots or effects that you would like to do. So, if we wanted to go somewhere else while we were still here, where would we go? Do you have any ideas where we'd go, Des? Would you like to go to the desert? Maybe you would like to go to the jungle. How
to
about,
a jungle.
Yeah, okay, to the jungle. How about to a tropical beach?
No.
Perhaps a wintry scene?
No.
How about a prairie with a tree on it?
No.
We could go to another desert of some kind.
No.
I know, let's go to outer space!
No.
No?
I know! We can take a ride on the duty area!
Yeah, we'll take a ride on that! Well, these have been examples of green screening, and if you want to try doing green screening, you'll have to come here and edit and have the staff help you do it. Well, my assistant's gone, and that means my time is up, so. What we have here is Des running on the spot. But what I've done is I have keyframed a JPEG on a lower video line and had it move. So it looks like he's actually running against a background. It makes things a little bit more realistic. In other scenes, such as this one, we have a still photo and we've turned it into a JPEG, placed it on a lower video line, and then it becomes the background. And if Des acts according to whatever the background image is, it is either very amusing or somewhat convincing. The important thing to remember is that you can use any kind of background and you can do a number of different effects to it to give it a little bit more realism, or just plain and simply have fun. Well, that was today's training tip of the day. And just remember, you can use green screens in any of your productions. You just have to plan ahead. So until next time, have a good one.
Training.
This is really hard. I'm sorry, give me a minute. It's time to say goodbye. I know, it's awful. But don't worry, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back next month for another edition of the TCTV Training Show. In the meantime, come and see what we have to offer on our new editing platforms. Take advantage of those free classes to learn the editing upgrade, to see what Final Cut Express HD is all about. Find out all about live type and soundtrack. You're gonna have so much fun with this editing system. The computers are faster, they're bigger, better. So come on, see what we have to offer. If you'd like to find out when those classes are or when other classes are, please go to our website, www.tctv.net, and click on training. If you'd like to sign up for the digital field and editing class, give us a call, 956-3100. So we will see you next time. Join us next month on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. only on TCTV Channel 22. I'm Robert Cam, and I will see you next time.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show.
I can't believe it worked. Dude! Am I still going? Oh, okay.
These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV.
Oh, goodness gracious. I think we're done. I think we're done with the show.
The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.